Hi guys, Backyard Bassing back at you here. Today we are going to talk about flipping and pitching grass mats. Now, everybody kind of knows what the grass is. Depending on what you have on your body of water, may be a little different from everybody else. A lot of clear lakes are going to have a lot of grass in them. At least here in the Midwest, I mean, we deal with a lot of that. This is probably one of my top favorite things to do when it comes to bass fishing in the heat of the summer. On my last video, we talked about fishing like shady spots or fishing grass mats and stuff like that, or going out to deep ledges, deep humps, stuff like that. But today we're just going to focus on just the grass mats and what my setup is and what I actually do and what I look for. So first off, your grass mat. When you pull up to a grass mat and you're wanting to flip into there, the main thing I look for is I want to get the thickest cover I can possibly find, and that's what I want to target. When you get grass that's real sparse, a lot of times your bass are not going to relate to that too much because they're going to want to be under a canopy, and that's what they're looking for. They're looking for a really good dark spot that sun can't penetrate through. So look for your really dense grass spots in whatever mat you're fishing. So whatever's really matted up and looks like it's a jungle, that's what you want to look for. I'll go a little bit over here about what I throw. This is the Lew's. This is a pitching rod. It's a 7.4. It's a heavy, extra heavy. This one's a fast tip on it. This is probably one of my favorite, pitching rods for doing grass mats. I love this thing. I've got it paired up. This is a Quantum. It's a KVD Signature Series. It's the 1100 HXE, and the reason I went with this, if you look right here, it actually has a flipping switch. Now, for those of you that don't know what that is, when you've got a flipping switch, when you hit this, as soon as you let up, well, sorry, let me redo that here. Put the flipping switch on here. So as soon as you let off that thing, it engages immediately, and that's what I like using. And the reason I like using that is I'm a right-handed guy. So I like to flip with my right. Well, the problem is if you flip with your right and you don't have that flipping switch, as soon as you let go, you've got to reach over with your left hand and then your right hand and hit that reel to engage that. So I really like having that flipping switch on there. Now, another thing is too, I've actually come a little bit easier with pitching with my left now. It's not as comfortable, but I'm still working on it. But having that flipping switch on there saves my butt a lot of times, because when you're throwing your bait into those heavy grass mats like that, a lot of times what happens is as soon as that bait gets through that top layer of grass or that mat or whatever, they're going to grab it right then and there, and you don't have a whole lot of time to sit there and hit your reel and engage that. So that flipping switch, as soon as you let that go, you just set that hook and you get into it pretty good and quick. So on with the setup here. I'll kind of show you what I do here. So I'll kind of show you a little close-up here of what that looks like. So first of all, when I'm flipping mats or punching mats, however you want to call it, I always use a big tungsten weight. Now with that being said, my bobber stops, I'm always going to use 2 bobber stops above that. That's a lot of weight up there, and you don't want it sliding up and down. So that's first thing that goes on there. Second, and this is a pretty well used tungsten. This is a 2-ounce punching weight here. This is probably my top go-to weight right here, is a 2-ounce. Then I have a punching skirt. And if you notice on the underneath of that skirt there, it actually has a little rubber piece underneath there. So it's not like you can't just go and get a jig skirt or a spinnerbait skirt. That's not going to work. You need that one with that little rubber piece in the middle there. So, and then to stop all at the end here, that is a Trokar 4/0 flipping hook. That is probably my favorite hook of all time. I love that hook, and it never failed me. So, and when you're doing this, always tie a snell knot on that flipping hook. So, go on here a little bit closer here. When you guys are doing this flipping, there's 2 things you got to keep in mind with your weights. You can go with a 1-ounce weight. If you've got lighter vegetation, There's not a whole lot there. You can actually even go less than that. But keep in mind, when you're going through that, you don't want to throw a weight on top of there or your bait on top of there and it just set there and you have to wiggle it through. Because a lot of times what you're going to do is you're going to miss bites doing that. Your weight's going to follow through just a little bit and it's going to get hung up right there in the top of the mat. So you want to go through that thing every time. So go with a little bit heavier weight. Don't worry about the fish. They're going to hit it. I guarantee it. So go up to, like I said, I use a 2-ounce weight most of the time. Here in the Midwest, I haven't found any mats that the 2-ounce really won't go through. Now I know if you go down to Florida, like Lake Okeechobee or something, and they've got jungle mats down there that are just dense and they're really hard to get through. You know, you might have to wiggle a 2-ounce down there a little bit, but for the biggest part, that 2 ounce is going to get you through just about everything. Like I said, if you can get away with lighter weights, then by all means do it. You know, that's going to help you out. You're going to feel a little bit more bites that way too. So we'll go on to a few of the baits that I use here. First off, this is the Missile D-Bomb. This is probably one of my go-to baits here. If you can see there, we've kind of went over these before. You know, it doesn't have the flanges on the end of the flappers or nothing like that. They're just a plain flapper. They don't have a whole lot of action to them, but that's one that I use a lot on this thing, especially if the fish act like they're not looking for something that's real aggressive or has a lot of action to it. That Missile D-Bomb is probably the go-to bait for that. Next is, and I know everybody's going to have an opinion here, the Googan baits, the Bandito bug. This thing, I mean, trust me, I know there's a lot of people out there that don't like the Googans and this and that. I personally have no problems with any of them, and I think their baits are absolutely wonderful. They work good. Yeah, they're a softer plastic, they rip easy, but just like I fish a lot of Rage products, they're the exact same way. I mean, the same guy designed these things, so I didn't expect much difference out of them anyway. But these are the Bandito bugs, and like I said, these have a flange on the actual flapper, so they give it a lot more action. So the only bad side to these things is they don't last long after about 1 or 2 fish, but they catch fish, and that is no joke. So go on to the next bait here. All right, so the next one, staying in that type of that beaver style bait. This is going to be your Rage structure bug. This isn't too far off from the Bandito bug. I mean, people can argue and say whatever they want, but it's really pretty dang close. Now, I do like using this a lot. I mean, this is probably one of the ones that I first started off pitching with into grass mats. I will tell you, a lot of times, probably, I don't know, 80–90% of the time, I will dye these pinchers, the chartreuse, and get a little bit more bites that way. So I do that a lot. And then we'll go to our last one. This is I know these have been some of my favorite baits here and there, but this next one is probably 100% confidence bait. I have caught I don't know how many fish on these, whether it be a Texas rig, whether it be pitching and flipping into grass mats, or just almost fishing it weightless around some cover and ponds and stuff. These things perform time and time again, and that is the Rage Crawl. Watermelon candy is the color right here. That's probably my all-time favorite color in those. Same thing as the Rage bug there too. I dip the pinchers in this and the chartreuse. Like I said, this is one of my probably biggest confidence baits I have out there. So if you guys want to get into fishing and try it just a little bit, take one of these, put it on like either an 1/8 or a 1/4 ounce weight, and fish around ponds or whatever you want. I'm telling you, you will get bit on that thing no matter where you're at. So that's all I got for you guys today. If you guys have any suggestions for the next video, please comment down below. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and the like button, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks.